Boom, shakalaka boom. You're tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. Man, free range human and reality radio. Two words, phrases, whatever you want to say, that go very appropriate on a day like today. We are free humans. We are free range humans. We will not live in fear. And this is a big old dose of reality and the price that we can pay for that freedom, for that free speech. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards. I am live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. I'm streaming worldwide at WYAB.com. And then if you just want to listen to the audio-only version, if you're out riding in your car, whatever, if you're outside the listening area, if you were wanting to watch online, we're going to have a guest here in the studio and coming up at 7:20. For the first few minutes, it's just me, and I am on the Save JXN YouTube, X, and the Clay Edwards Show Rumble. We had the biggest live stream in the history of this platform last night on YouTube, as we did an entire show about Charlie Kirk and the fallout from his assassination. I hope you guys will go back and watch that, because today will not be very much about Charlie Kirk past his first 15 minutes. Because I have a guest in here. We have Miss Jenny Lukens. She was the girlfriend of Jordan Cummins, who killed the two people at the St. Paddy's Day Parade back in 2023. Joshua Spann and Jubilee Simpkins. I want to let her give her side of the story on what happened that day. A video was recently released on social media by Jenny of her basically doing play-by-play of exactly what happened. And I'm just going to say that it is hard to watch that video and understand how this was not self-defense on some level. And look, nobody talked more crap about Jordan Cummins than Clay Edwards. But when you watch that video, it's hard to understand how a group of people can swarm a car, attack the people in it, pull a gun first, and the person who is defending himself, whether you like him or not, regardless of how hateable he comes across, regardless of how stupid that jailhouse video was, how that's the person that's in jail. And everybody else in that video that didn't meet their unfortunate end isn't. So we're going to talk about that for pretty much more than an hour and a half this morning. But first, let's just jump into it. Charlie Kirk. I want to play Donald Trump's statement. I think it's important. I like Trump did not bring the temperature in the room down. I don't think the temperature in the room needs brought down. I think the temperature in the room needs to be brought up. It is time that the left pays for their violence. I'm not here to bring the country together. I'm not here to tell you it's going to be all right. I'm not here to tell you to stop it. I'm here to tell you to be ready. The boogaloo is a-coming. It's 2 minutes to midnight as far as I'm concerned. Let's play Donald Trump.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark, moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I think that was hands down the best Trump speech that he has ever done from the Oval Office. I like how he did not encourage us to cross the aisle. He did not encourage us to turn the other cheek. I don't want to turn the other cheek. I want to slap the cheek off of lefties' faces. Turn the cheek. I ain't weak. I ain't turning anything around here except your head on a swivel when we smack it around. I'm disgusted. Y'all killed the most milquetoast, ward cleaver, leave it to beaver, conservative person y'all possibly could have. You don't like what Charlie Kirk had to say? Have you heard of Clay Edwards? Have you heard of Salty Cracker? Have you heard of Kim Wade? You don't like what we got? You don't like what he had to say? Welcome to the Thunderdome, bitch. You don't know what's coming your way. You don't know what is coming your way. You have awoken a monster that you had no clue existed, and we are bringing the Kraken. I got a bunch of calls from friends and family and texts and from people that I love and people that love me yesterday asking me to move gently, watch my back. Clay, just stay home. I ain't going to stay home. Clay, don't tell people where you're going to be. I do this for a living. This is how I get my money. I'd rather die on my feet living my life than live on my knees hiding in my house. And I ain't saying that to sound like a badass on the radio this morning. That is how I live my life. That is how I've gotten to where I'm at today. Not being scared. I ain't saying don't be smart. Don't be situationally aware. Don't put yourself in positions where you know something negative is the most likely outcome. But I ain't going to live scared. I'm going to a concert tonight. I'm going to Hardy tonight. I'm not going to sit home, cower in fear. I'll be at the tattoo festival at the fairgrounds all weekend long in the Trademark building with a big FAFO booth set up, selling the shirts I'm wearing right now, shaking hands, kissing babies, debating anybody that wants to debate. We ain't going to live in fear. I expect y'all not to live in fear. That ain't what we do around here. This is America, damn it. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi. You think I'm scared of some purple-haired transgender nut job? You ain't been paying attention. If that's what you think. I compared Charlie Kirk to MLK last night or yesterday afternoon. I said, we just lost our MLK Jr. Man, that upset a lot of people on both sides. And to y'all, I say, I don't care. I feel more resolute today about that comparison than I did yesterday. And I'm not comparing them completely parallel. What I'm suggesting is, as important as MLK was to the civil rights movement, and I don't care what you think about MLK's personal business, the fact that he was with a couple hookers when he got killed at that hotel in Memphis, I don't care about any of that. But what you can't do is diminish his role and his importance in the civil rights movement and him being the greatest example in my lifetime of you can kill the man, but you can't kill the dream. They tried to kill Trump in that Pennsylvania field because they thought if you killed the man, you could kill MAGA. Charlie Kirk is as important to MAGA and America first, if not more, than MLK was to the civil rights movement. And anybody that's got a problem with that, cash me outside, as they say. As a young lady once said, cash me outside. We lost our MLK yesterday. We are living in a time of political violence like we have never seen, and it's all coming from one side. All of it. January 6th, that was left-wingers cosplaying as conservatives. Conservatives were just there praying and hoping that good would come from the presidential speech. It was lefties that got violent and turned it into political violence. It was not right-wingers. Lefties. It was the FBI. Steve Scalise got his cap peeled back on a softball field. Y'all forgot about that, huh? How about Donald Trump getting shot once, a man being killed, two other men being shot, and lefties had the audacity to suggest that Trump set that up so he could look good. You people are sick. You people are demented. What is wrong with y'all? Have you not had your SSRIs this morning? I've had a little time to think about this. I got a good night's sleep last night. I made myself go to bed a little earlier than normal because I knew I had to get up and get a shower and be fresh for today. And I'm more fired up today because I'm not as in shock as I was yesterday. I was walking out the door and Sean Yurkron texted me the initial video of Charlie Kirk being shot. It was the first video from further back. And me and a friend of mine were going rucking. And I'm so glad that we were going because my initial reaction was to sit there and jump on the internet and peel this onion back and dwell on it and just get all caught up in what was going on. But initially I thought, it's like, this is AI. But then I said, no, it's not AI because it doesn't look good enough to be AI. Talk about a crazy world to live in where I'm like, no, it doesn't look good enough to be AI. I think it's real. And then, of course, credible sources are sharing it. But I was like, nah, let's go rucking. And I'm so glad I did because I was able to walk off or ruck off for about an hour, 3 miles we went. And I was able to get off some of that negative juju, some of that negative energy. And I came back home and we're watching TV, trying to wait and see what happens. And we get the announcement that Charlie Kirk had died. And I told my friend that I would remember that moment for the rest of my life, just like I remember 9/11. Every second of that day I remember. And it's ironic that today is 9/11. And I believe, and I put this on Facebook right as we were getting ready to go live. I believe that a monster was awoken yesterday on 9/10/2025, just as a monster was awoken on 9/11/2001. And that monster is America. That monster is you. It's me. It's us. And I'm going to butcher the quote a little bit, or maybe not, but I want to quote Toby Keith. To the people who are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, to the people who perpetrated the death of Charlie Kirk, we're going to put a boot in your ass, because that's the American way. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back on WYAB. We are waiting. We are waiting for Jenny Lucan's attorney to get here. She's going to sit in this interview. So until she gets here, I'm going to rant and rave, which I'm sure y'all don't have a problem with. I got a lot I want to say anyway. But as soon as Jenny's attorney gets here, we're going to start having the conversation about what Jenny saw through her eyes that day in March of 2023 or February 2023 at the St. Paddy's Day Parade, where Joshua Spann and Jubilee Simpkins lost their life and Jordan Cummins ended up in prison for the rest of his. Don't go anywhere. Action-packed show regardless of what way it goes this morning. Only on WYAB do you get your daily dose of reality radio. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. We're not taking any calls today. The interview, whatever, was going to take precedence over phone calls today. But the Guns and Gear text is 769-241-1944. Of course, you can comment on the live stream. We'll discuss some of those. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios here on a somber 9/11/2025 as we mourn and remember the life of Charlie Kirk, the founder. I assume he's the founder. I know he's the head cracker in charge of Turning Point USA. Really sad day. But look, that's what the terrorists want. The terrorists want us in fear. And I'm going to tell you what. Let me pull out my pad here. I'm going to tell you about an event. Yeah, we still got to pay the bills, too. We got to promote our events and whatnot. I think, all things considered, some people may say this is in bad taste, and to them I say I don't care. This Saturday is the grand opening of Big River Ballistics shooting range, firearm pro shop, private membership shooting range club. Guys, I can't think of a better time to get as familiar with your firearm as you possibly can. And this Saturday is the grand opening from 8 to 5 p.m. at Big River Ballistics, located at 2364 McCurdy Road in Morton, Mississippi. You can go to bigriverballistics.com to get all the details. I'm just going to give you a quick little hit list here real quick. There's going to be free food. It's this Saturday. There's going to be free food. They're going to have fully automatic machine guns and NFA demos. Have you ever wanted to shoot a 50 cal? Have you ever wanted to try to shoot something from over 1,000 yards away? You'll be able to this Saturday. They have a shooting range that goes up to 1,150 yards. They have a full service pro shop. They're going to have custom and semi-custom rifles. They're going to offer rimfire and centerfire outlaw matches, open enrollment and private training. They even have lodging out there if you want to make a weekend out of it. And again, they have machine gun and compressor rentals available. Guys, this is going to be a heck of a time. Go see my buddies Tyler Tharp and the team out there at Big River Ballistics for the grand opening this Saturday. And if you go sign up for a membership this Saturday, you get 25% off. The memberships start as low as $45 a month or $500 a year for the standard tier and go all the way up to $1,000 a year for the diamond tier. Now, I don't know if the diamond tier is included in the 25% off, but if you got a little extra change sitting around, if it is $750 for that diamond tier for a year, goes a long way because you get a lot of stuff. You get up to 3 guests with no guest fees. I'm just saying, these are locally owned, locally operated facilities, and obviously the left knows how to shoot from quite the distance. Do we? Do you? Should you? I'm not encouraging parroting what they did, but if the enemy can do it, you damn well should be able to also. Because I feel like we're on the cusp. We're minutes away from a boogaloo breaking off. And we need to be prepared as well. Get prepared so you don't have to, what's the saying? Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Get started this Saturday, 8 to 5, Big River Ballistics. All right, so we are still waiting on the attorney, so I'm going to keep talking about Charlie Kirk. I will open up the phone lines. If anybody wants to call in this morning, 601-879-0002 is the Mazda of Jackson phone line. I'm going to open up the live chats here. Let me pull up the screen. And again, I encourage anybody that didn't get to watch the live stream last night, the record-breaking live stream at the Save JXN Facebook. I'm sorry, it wasn't on Facebook. It was on YouTube, X, and Rumble. Over 2,200 people were watching that live stream in real time last night on YouTube alone. That's huge. And we do take the, the super chats are open on YouTube. Shout out to AB. Shot me a $9.99 super chat. AB, I don't know who you are, but I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's read a couple of your live streams here, your live chats. The Fatback says, they found the rifle used. It was a 30-06, 3 rounds each with engraved trans and anti-fascist views. Now, I haven't seen that. That sounds too good to be true. Did y'all see the video? CNN, of all places, got it from somebody that was there. Do y'all realize that when Charlie got killed, he was literally mid-sentence answering a question from somebody about trans mass shooters, and then he catches one to the neck? Now, unfortunately, I have seen the video like I'm sure so many of you have, and I think you should see it. I think everybody should see it. I think your kids should see it. I'm not saying gratuitously watch it, but I think everybody should see it and understand what happened and see just how violent the left is. And I'm talking about the close-up video where he gets shot in the neck and the blood shoots out onto his white shirt. That is one of the most polarizing things I've ever seen in my life. And I told my friend that was with me when it happened, I said, he's dead. He's dead. Now, what I believe happened and why we got some quote-unquote confusing messaging or misinformation or whatever you want to call it, and why they didn't just come out immediately and pronounce him dead, is I believe that they tried to get him to the hospital and let paramedics do their dang jobs. And then I also believe that the president maybe, or Turning Point, or somebody wanted to try to get the family there to Utah, because the families don't normally travel on these kind of trips. I believe that the powers that be, whomever that was, tried to get the family there, his wife and kids and whomever else, to the hospital so they could wait to announce him dead with them there instead of them having to find out that he's dead on the news. I truly believe that. At least that's what I want to believe. Like, people want to believe Santa Claus is real. I want to believe that people have some dignity and some sense of doing the right thing left in them. And they tried to kind of shelter the family from finding out about his death on the news because they've already seen the video, obviously. Just a terrible situation. Terrible situation altogether. Kara. Good morning, Kara. Kara says, I'm glad I no longer work in the mainstream media when this happened. I'm thankful I don't have to publicly stay neutral with my feelings. I concur, Kara. I concur. The Fatback says, Charlie Kirk is our generation's Franz Ferdinand. Bright Lights Cold Steel on X says, what about the EMCC arrest yesterday? I'm not familiar with that. Is that East Mississippi Community College? I've been so caught up in this that I haven't seen anything else. So my apologies for being a little unplugged. Barbershop Bob says, good morning, Clay. I still can't believe Charlie's gone. Me either. Because like I said, I mean, here's why they killed Charlie. Let's just make this real clear for y'all. The left is all about grooming children, and not just elementary age children. They're about molding young minds. And they know that college campuses is where that happens at the most. You know, you send your good little Christian conservative kid off to college to even great schools like Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And those filthy professors get a hold of them, those filthy Democrat liberal professors with their trans ideology and rainbow supremacy beliefs, their communist, Marxist beliefs. They get a hold of them and they try to mold them and they groom them into being the next Marxist, the next communist, the next transgender nut job. Well, Charlie Kirk spoke to this is what the cultural war is. College campuses is the true battleground of the cultural war. And Charlie Kirk was winning on these campuses. He was changing young minds. I mean, I've met so many great young men. My friend Sonny Evans' son, he's in the military now. He invited me to Turning Point USA's teen event last August in Florida, and unfortunately I couldn't make it. I was going through some personal things, and I regret that every day. But he's a young man that got activated by Charlie Kirk. I spoke to a good friend of mine, Christy, yesterday, and I don't even consider Christy that political, but she said Charlie Kirk activated her. She said Candace Owens activated her. And she was one of my friends that reached out to me and just told me to be careful. Charlie Kirk activated so many people who weren't politically active. Anybody that's paying attention and knows what's going on knows that Charlie Kirk is why Trump 2.0 has happened. What he did, the ground game in Arizona and some of these other states, I mean, Charlie Kirk basically moved to Arizona for the last couple of months leading up to the November election. What Turning Point and Charlie Kirk did changed the game, won us the election, and they made him pay for that, and the price he paid for that was his life. That's how you know he was important. But I said this on my stream last night to Miss Angela Buckner with the Mike magazine. She came on. No, I'm sorry. I said it to Dan Carr. Y'all need to go back and listen to that show last night. It was probably the best work I've ever done. And I credit God, and I credit the listeners, and I credit my guest. I told Dan last night, I said, they screwed up because they thought they killed the man and the dream. I said, somebody was watching that last night or yesterday as it all unfolded. Somebody was watching that and got activated. And we're going to hear one day, and I want y'all to remember what I'm saying right now. I want y'all to screen record this. I want y'all to write it down, put it in your journal, your diary, whatever. It may be 8 years from now, it may be 12 years from now, maybe 20 years from now. And I do 4-year cycles for a reason. Somebody's going to say, I wasn't even that involved in politics. I didn't really care that much. But seeing Charlie Kirk get assassinated on my computer, my phone, my iPad, my screen, my TV, whatever, it fired me up. And I wanted to know why they wanted to kill this man. And I discovered Charlie Kirk because of his assassination. And that led me to wanting to one day and eventually become the president of the United States of America. I firmly believe they woke up a monster last night or yesterday with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I said it in the first segment. And that monster is you. That monster is me. That monster is your children. Got to take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hit the share button if you're watching online. Hit the like button, please. Please, please. We're live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness in Mississippi studios. Get you a free testosterone screening by texting Clay to 601-800-5130. 601-800-5130. The Guns of Gear text line, 769-241-1944. We're going to read some of your text when we come back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, here live on WYAB from the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. We're going to push the interview with Jenny to the top of the 8 a.m. hour. It's 8:07. Jenny Lukens giving her side of the story on WYAB. It's going to be interesting. I've heard it. I've got to spend some time with Jenny. Put a lot of effort into this morning's show. A lot of research. Really trying to understand what happened because I understand the sensitivity of the topic with the people whose lives were lost and everything. So I wanted to make sure we gave it the attention to detail that it deserved. And we're going to push that back to 8:07. So until then, let's continue to discuss Charlie Kirk and the death of Charlie Kirk and what will come from that. Real quick, before we do that, however, don't forget this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, second annual Kings and Queens of Ink Tattoo Festival at the Trademark Center down on the fairgrounds. Come and meet your boy. Me, I'll be there, loud and proud. I ain't staying home. I ain't cowering in fear. I'll be down there, set up. As soon as you walk in the door, you'll see the big FAFO booth. Stop by, holler at me. Let's get to know each other a little bit. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited. It's going to be 3 full days of tattoo, music, art, culture. You're going to have a great time. Come take your mind off all the chaos in the world. Come meet some like-minded individuals with tattoos and ink. Everything ain't got to dang be political. You know, we do talk about other stuff. We all do have lives. We all like sports in some form, fashion, or another. All of y'all, I bet you 99% of the people out there listening to this show right now got a tattoo. Come get another one. Come see me this weekend. Trademark Building. Kings and Queens of Ink Tattoo and Art Festival. Going to be a great time. I'm really excited about it. All right. Let's go to my X account. Well, let's go to my phone, actually. Let's read some of your texts on the Guns and Gear text line. You guys have been piling in. I can't continue to ask you to text and not read them. But it is easy to read the live chats from the computer because they're just right in front of my face here. So I do apologize to our texters. Let me hit reload. You guys, look, I want to thank everybody that texted me yesterday, all the listeners, the people that I don't really personally know, everybody that took time out of their day to text me, to tell me about what was going on, to wish me well. I may not have got a chance to reply to everybody, but I truly do appreciate everybody. Thank y'all so much. Unknown texter. Well, I can't read that one. John says, they are breaking Christian values in high schools now. No Bible, no American flag, no prayers. That's not every school, because I know some are still doing it. Even some public schools still do the national anthem, don't they? Thomas Powell on the Guns and Gear text says Steven Crowder just posted that very thing about the gun and the messaging. This is definitely a turning point in history. I unfortunately had to have one of those hardest sit-down conversations with my 9th grade daughter about what happened to the Ukrainian girl and to Charlie and how it relates to history and her being a young, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Trump supporter. His death made even her cry. It hits everyone. Yeah, so it took me to yesterday evening. It was probably about 6 o'clock. I was out in my garage finishing up my workout before I got on my live stream at 7 o'clock. And I was listening to Clay Travis from Outkick. And Clay was telling a story yesterday about how he got a young 10-year-old. I can't remember if it's a boy or a girl. But he walks them to school every morning or something of that nature. But they get up to a sidewalk and they do a crosswalk. And I almost clipped this out and played it. But anyway, he said he reached down to grab his kid's hand. And this was after the Charlie Kirk stuff. He reached down to grab his kid's hand to walk across the street. And he said it hit him that Charlie Kirk is never going to have that opportunity to walk his young child across the street holding their hand. That young child is never going to have that opportunity for their dad to grab their hand and walk across the street. And guys, it hit me, and I was fighting the tears back. I was wiping them off my face. Just the thought of that, just the heaviness of that I think that you have to be a parent to understand that, or maybe not. Maybe you had a relationship with your father or mother. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you lost them and you didn't get to ever experience that. And maybe it hits you a different kind of way. But anyway, that really, really hit me, and just all of it, the emotion of all of it. Feeling like you're under attack. Feeling like Charlie Kirk was killed for his beliefs, which weren't extreme by any stretch of the imagination. He thought men were men and women were women and God and Christ is king. Pretty simple. And he was killed for that. In front of 7,000-8,000 people. I had just printed my ticket off 2 days ago to go see him in Baton Rouge on October 27th. Me and Kingfish, we're going to ride down there. Kingfish reached out to me and said, "You need to go see Charlie Kirk. He goes, it'll be good for you." And I knew he was right. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. It was going to be around, I think it was like a lunchtime. Lunch or 2 o'clock or something like that. It was a midday event like the one yesterday. And we had even talked yesterday morning or the day before about it. He was like, "Did you get your ticket printed?" I'm like, I did. And I still have that ticket where I printed it off to go see Charlie Kirk, and now I'll never get to go see Charlie Kirk. And I'm just one of tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people that would have seen him on this current tour that he's on. And I find it very ironic and poetic even that Charlie Kirk's last tweet was about the girl that was killed on the rail train in Ukraine, the Ukrainian girl who was killed on the train by the black racist terrorist, Democrat racist terrorist, DeCarlo Brown Jr. His last tweet was about her. It was a video. It was a reel. I guess he's probably on TikTok and everywhere. I saw it on X. But he posted it minutes before he died, and he said in that video, "You absolutely should politicize situations and deaths and murders like this so people understand just how violent the left are," in so many words. So I have no problem. I feel like I have a permission slip from Charlie Kirk to politicize his murder. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we'll be back here in 7 minutes with Jenny Lukens telling her side of the story, what happened on St. Paddy's Day Parade 2023. This is the Clay Edwards Show with WYAB 103.9 FM all throughout Central Mississippi. Live from the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios. Don't go nowhere. See you in 7 minutes.